Welcome to Startup Office Hours. I'm Scott Fox. Today we're going to talk about next steps. Next steps for you and your business. And your business, in this case, I mean a startup. If you're a startup founder, entrepreneur, maybe an angel investor, or someone who works with startups, you're in the right place. It's time for Startup Office Hours. I'm Scott Fox. I'm the CEO of the Startup Council. We're a worldwide community service organization that I started to help early stage founders and investors and all the folks that fill the startup ecosystem worldwide, trying to bring more opportunities to everyone. I'm a firm believer that a rising tide lifts all the boats, and we're here today to help answer your questions about startup fundraising. I've got a couple decades now of early stage startup building, founding, fundraising, writing books like these books behind me. I wrote these 3 books and I'm working on more specifically to help you figure out how to bring your vision out into the world and help other people, solving problems, hopefully making some money at the same time. So today we're going to be taking your questions and practicing investor pitches from all over the world, from all the entrepreneurs who've RSVP'd with us today. And if you're joining us here live, happy to see you. We're live on LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook and Blog Talk Radio. And of course, if you're watching this later in the replays, there's lots of recordings of previous editions. I do this once a month. It's lunchtime here in Southern California. I turn on my camera and try to help you out with the benefits of my expertise. It's free and we're happy to have you. So welcome. So we're going to get started with a bunch of folks are backstage already who've RSVP'd, and we're going to be talking about their questions and practicing their investor pitches as well. It's a great opportunity for you, if you're new to this sort of thing, to watch and learn. Or, of course, we welcome your posts in the chat room, your questions, your participation, your suggestions for people that are pitching. Please go ahead. Chat is live on LinkedIn and YouTube in particular, and Facebook too, I think. And you can put in your questions there, and they'll start popping up right here, right there in a minute. So go ahead and let us know where you're calling in from. Love to know where we're reaching around the world. We've got a lot of people RSVP'd today, a lot of questions and pitches. We won't be able to get to them all, I'm sorry, but I'll try to pick the ones that are most interesting and most helpful to the broadest group of people. And hopefully everyone involved who's watching can benefit from the discussions. And again, like I said, post your welcomes and comments, and we'll be happy to have you participate and give your feedback as well. Because, I don't have all the answers. I've spent a lot of time on this and I know a few things, but the world is a big place. And the whole point of us doing this is to find new ideas that we can bring out to the light and help share with other people. So I'm sure that you have expertise that are going to be available through this medium to help others. So please go ahead, use the chat room. You're welcome to talk to each other, link to each other, share your LinkedIn or your email address. And particularly if you want to pitch today, please tell the rest of the group who you are and where you're from, and they can check out your website. That's a good idea for everybody. Now, the backstage room is full already. We've got only room for 10 people at a time back there. So we're going to cycle through those folks. I'm going to bring everybody on camera here in just a second. And they're all going to quickly introduce themselves and tell us what they want to talk about. And we'll work out who gets to go first, and so that we have some coherent show order so that you can follow along at home, okay? Or at work. So that's going to be our first step. And those of you in backstage, the room is full, but we do have people pounding, I can see, knocking on the door. Nice to see you all from all over the world showing up. And you can join us for while you're on camera, but then I'd like you to turn off your camera and go watch on YouTube or LinkedIn so that other people can come in as well. So a couple quick housekeeping notes before we go. Oh, there's a couple people that looks like the chat's working. We've got Gerhard from Cape Town. That's all the way from South Africa. Welcome, Gerhard. And Crestwood Montessori from New Jersey. So that sounds like an early stage school here for the early stage startup discussions. Nice to see you. And everybody else, go ahead and say hi. I know there's lots and lots of you watching from all over the world. And there's Andre. Hey, Andre, how are you? He's a regular attendee and a friend. And I can see also backstage, we've got Chelsea and Gia and Eric and Khurram and Dante, Moldova and the UK and Anaheim and San Juan Capistrano, that's near me, and New York City, and another Irvine. Good to see you guys. So the backstage folks that I just mentioned, you can see your comments are not appearing publicly because you're backstage. So backstage is like a separate little private area. So we're going to come and put you guys on camera in a minute. We'll talk through how we're getting started. And then the public stuff that if you want to share publicly is over here in the chat room that's coming, as you can see, from LinkedIn and YouTube and so forth. So thanks for checking in. Yasser from the Netherlands, and Mitch from Toronto, and Martin from Las Vegas, and Hazy Dreams, Neffy from Lagos. Excellent. And Nathan from Vancouver. Great. Glad to see you guys. I'm glad we're reaching people. So please, while we're still getting started here, please tell your friends, invite your friends. This is free. I'm doing this to try to help. Honestly, that's the only agenda here, just trying to help you. So let's do this quick housekeeping and then we'll get on with the show. So I just need to tell you a couple things. And one is, well, obviously you can invite your friends. I just told you that. And you can, sorry, there we go. And you can invite your friends over. This is our YouTube channels under my name, Scott Fox. I've been doing this a long time. So there's a lot of you tuning in and appreciate that. You can join us at startupcouncil.org. That's the organization that I started. We've got 7 different free newsletters, all full of content designed to help you guys, meaning you early stage founders, find more investors, find more customers, find more team members, find all the things you need to accelerate yourself. So if you're not enrolled at startupcouncil.org, it's free. Just go check it out. You don't have to sign up for anything, but I suggest you do because we designed it all to help you. This session is being recorded and it is being displayed online, obviously, because you're all watching online, but it will be archived as well. So when you're chatting or appearing on camera, don't say anything stupid or too confidential because it will be archived and displayed worldwide. We want to share as much as you should and not much more. And then, of course, this is not qualified legal, tax, professional, accounting, or any other medical or any other kind of advice. I'm just a guy you met on the internet trying to help you out. So if this is interesting to you and useful, and I hope it is, please tell your friends. And the only way we get paid here is if you like and comment and share. So please do visit our YouTube channel and like and comment and share. And of course, the same thing on LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere else. The more you like and comment and share, the more people we can reach with these hopefully helpful messages. So let's get on with the show. So I'm going to bring on folks from backstage, and we've got, like I said, a dozen of them. Yes, Seth, the room is full. We've got about 10 people backstage, and that's all it can handle at once. It's about all my little brain can handle too. So we're going to walk through those folks in a minute and see who has what to say and what they want to talk about. And I'll take some notes and we'll try to put those in order. And then we're going to hear some pitches, investor pitches, and you in the audience are totally invited to share your commentary and feedback. So how the pitches can be better. And there'll also be some questions. People have strategy questions about fundraising and what to do in this crazy startup world. And I'll be happy to give my opinion, but we'd also love your opinions via the chat room as well. So this is a community-focused event. Go ahead and put in your LinkedIn, for example, if you guys want to meet up with each other. In fact, I should do that. Maybe somebody else can find it. I should not distract myself, but I'm on LinkedIn, and you can search. I'm Scott Fox Author is the handle. And of course, I'm Scott Fox. You can search for me there pretty easily. And like I said, I'm a serial internet entrepreneur. These days, I'm mostly an angel investor. So I've worked on both sides of the table, both the raising money, and then I've advised a lot of companies who are trying to raise money as well. And my real occupation most of the time is actually as an investor. I'm an investor and I've lost track, 30, 40 different startup companies all over the world, different kinds of things. So I've seen lots and lots of pitch decks and lots of pitches. And so that's part of what we're going to be practicing today. So I want to thank you for being here, and let's get on with inviting some folks from backstage and see who's here and what they want to talk about. And I will try to coordinate this into a reasonable facsimile of a table of contents, essentially. And I should mention, by the way, we're going to give preference to folks who are participants and who are registered at nationalstartupsdirectory.com. Nationalstartupsdirectory.com is our sponsor, and this is a service that I built, and you can participate free, just like they have. You can see there's a coupon code there on the screen. The National Startups Directory is simply what it says. It's me trying to help you guys by creating a directory so that everybody can list their startups in one place. Why is that a good idea? So that we investors can find you. So the idea is to create sort of a marketplace, I guess. And you list your startup, and you can say a little about your startup or a lot. And that way we can build up a library so that investors have a centralized place to find early stage investment opportunities. So it's a win-win for both sides. The more you guys post your startups, we send out newsletters worldwide. We have a worldwide reach, of course. And we have 75,000 or so members in startup cities, 45, 48 cities around the world now. Thanks to all of you for participating. But if you list the National Startups Directory, we'll start pumping your startup news out to all of them. So it's a virtuous cycle, creating more opportunities for you by introducing you to more investors. So to drive attendance and use of that service that we built, which took a lot of time and money, of course, we're inviting you to pitch. If you want to pitch, we're giving priority to the folks who are listed there. Okay, so that's who gets priority. And if you want to check it out, there's a code on the screen there, and you can go list yourself there as well. All right, so let's go and bring on our friends. And who we got backstage? There's a bunch of folks back there. Let's see here. How do I do this? Okay, they keep changing the interface. Okay, so Wendell and Khurram and Jess, Dante, Carrie, Gia, Chelsea, Eric, and Joss. Please turn on your cameras. I'm not going to bring you on unless your camera's on. So Wendell is here.
Wendell. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you. And Carrie is back again. Hey, Carrie. And Gia as well. Good to see you. And Chelsea. Here comes Chelsea and Eric. And another one. Excellent. Okay. Now, I'm getting lots of messages. The room is full, like I said. So if you're trying to get in and you can't, you just got to wait your turn. These folks are going to talk first, and then we're going to, they'll cycle out and we'll bring in some other folks. And okay, Dante turned on his camera. Good. Dante. And there's Joss and Jess. And Khurram, you need to turn on your cameras if you want to join us, okay? So this is our opening lineup, okay? So nice to meet all of you. Welcome to the show. If you can give me a smile, are you all paying attention? You got your cameras on? Hello? Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Nice to meet you. All right, so I'm just going to go around the room, and we'll see who's who, and we'll see who wants to go first and what they want to talk about. So, Gia, nice to see you again. What's on your mind today? Just give me the super quick version so I can order things, okay?
Thank you so much. This is a question from our co-founder. Recently, she was approached by an investor and a company. The company is education technology company, asking for like the international growth. So my question is about, is that possible? You share us a bit about your views. How you analyze this situation? Is that possible for a company based in the UK goes global, for example, to the United States, and with our technology?
Okay, interesting. All right, that's a complex one, so we can get to that. Thank you for being here. Nice to see you again. All right, looks like Wendell. What would you like to do today, Wendell?
Hi, everybody. So my name is Wendell. I currently run a delivery company in New York City, and we're creating a new startup for the underserved market of bodegas in New York. Bodegas are small family-owned stores. They sell food and groceries, and they're very underrepresented, and we have a product to get them online.
Cool. So do you want to pitch, or do you have a question about
Absolutely. That? So no, I do want to practice my pitch. I'm doing my first big pitch event tomorrow.
Oh,
so
perfect.
I kind of warm up.
Okay.
That's pretty much my goal now.
Okay, that sounds good. Nice to see you. And Carrie's back. Hi, Carrie. Nice to see you.
Hi. How are you? I'm from St. Bonaventure Academy. It's a school startup, and I'm just here to practice my pitch.
Okay, good to see you again. All right, just putting these in order. And then this is Dante. Hello, Dante.
Hey, everyone. I'm Daniel. Well, that's my real name, but the way Dante is my, you can say my nickname. I'm here just mostly to know more about marketing. But for example, we have a startup. And I would like to know ways how we can evolve that, and the ways how we can get audience perhaps, and mostly here to increase my knowledge and perhaps on marketing.
Okay. Do you have a specific question or pitch, or just kind of in general?
Well, I'll adapt, and if I'm going to come up with something, I will ask. Thank you.
Okay, fair enough. Nice to see you. Okay, and next to you is, let's see, who's that? Chelsea. Hello, Chelsea.
Hi. I'm in San Juan Capistrano, just down the road from you.
Yeah.
Great. And I'm hoping to practice my pitch for my startup laundry today.
Okay, perfect. Great, thank you for that. And then next to you is Eric. Hello, Eric.
Hey, Scott. Hey, everybody. My name's Eric. I'm working with a partner on developing a marketplace in the Bitcoin Nostr space. Definitely wasn't expecting to be backstage. I'm just curious to watch everyone else's pitch and learn about how to approach a very early stage startup and get seed funding. But
okay, perfect.
I can definitely relinquish this spot if someone else wants to be up here.
Sure. Well, actually, you read my mind. You and Dante both. If you guys don't have specific questions or a pitch, sorry to do this. We only have so much capacity. Can you leave here and go over on YouTube or LinkedIn? I'm happy to have you here. You can participate in the chat, but I'm trying to put people on camera who want to talk. So nice to meet you guys. Hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Let's do that. Okay. All right. So then who we got last here? Thank you, Eric. There goes Eric and Gia and Khurram. Hey, Khurram, nice to see you.
Hi, my name is Khurram. I am CEO and founder of Arvina. Me and Scott are from about the same city. We meet quite a bit at different events.
That's right.
We have created a startup and start in pre-order for AI for consumer, which is a smart home and security space. So you don't have to live with the motion alerts and person alert, but we exactly tell you what's going on in your life and when it happens and when it's important for you to know.
Excellent. So did you want to pitch today or did you have a question?
I want to pitch.
Okay. Good to see you again.
And it's a 2-minute pitch, right, Scott?
Yeah, up to 2 minutes is the idea. Right. Okay. And we've got a couple more here. So let's see. Gia, I did Chelsea. Joss. Who's Joss? Hey, Joss. Nice to meet you.
Hi. Nice to meet you too. Hi, everyone. My name is Joss, and I'm the CEO of a company called Einstein Innovations. I'm from Australia, but I'm currently in France, not to watch the Olympics, but to work. And we've developed a machine that can automatically iron clothes. So we're a startup company with about 3 years in, but preferably I don't want to pitch today. I just want to observe. So happy to relinquish my position too.
Okay, fair enough. Well, nice to meet you. Good day. And thanks for being up early. And we'll see you. Yes, if you can tune out for a second and move over to the public channels, that would be awesome. Great to meet you. All right. I hope to be back in Australia again real soon. One of my favorite places for sure. Okay, Sankar. Hello, Sankar. How are you?
Hello, sir. Hello.
Hi. Hello. What would you like to talk about today?
I want to start a luxury watch brand.
Okay.
So how to get large amount of investment?
Okay. So that's your question? Okay. Well, we can come back to that. That's cool. Nice to meet you. All right. So we got a couple more. Let's just check here. Let's add Ashwin and Kat. Wow, full house. This great looking group. Can everybody give me a quick smile? Hi, everybody. I got to post these on social media, right? It doesn't happen until we all look happy and, post it on Instagram, right? So great to see you. Come on, Kat, you're not smiling. You just arrived. There we go. Thank you. Okay. All right. Nice to meet you. Okay. So Kat, what's on your mind today?
I want to do my pitch for sparkedinnovations.ai.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. That was very concise. And Ashwin, how about you?
So I would also like to pitch our early stage startup, and specifically sort of like ask the question that, how do you raise sort of like a pre-seed round without customers?
Okay.
Where in sort of like a landscape where like having customers and showing.
Okay, that's enough. We'll do that. We can definitely do that question. But I got the idea. So, but you want to pitch and ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to turn everybody's cameras off again and let me digest. Sorry. Let me just give me a second and I will figure out what order we can put these in so that we keep everybody entertained. So thank you all for being here. In the meantime, the chat room is active, obviously. I want to welcome everybody for joining us. Let me put up, let's see, there's a question there about the directory. Let's put that up again. This is there. So that's the startups directory that we have built, and it is open for you. And I think we're going to give priority to our friend Wendell because he has a listing there as well as wanting to pitch. But Wendell, if you've got a minute, I think before we do that, let's just do some baseline question. And Khurram also, he's a member, and Carrie as well. Okay. And then, okay, so cool. All right, but let's start with a basic question. I think Ashwin had the most broadly applicable question. So let's start there. And this might help Sankar as well in terms of how to raise money. Let me just pitch. Okay. So a lot of pitches today. Okay, so let's just lay the groundwork a little. Ashwin, I'm going to invite you back up and let's talk about what you were saying there. I told you you'd get a chance, right? So as soon as you said what you were interested in, I had an idea that might be useful. Okay, so there's Ashwin. Hey, Ashwin, nice to meet you. Where are you calling from?
Nice to meet you as well. I'm calling from India right now, but okay. My co-founder and the startup is in the Bay.
Oh, nice. All right. Okay, so let's start. We can get to your pitch later, but let's talk about the background you were giving for a minute in terms of what your company's doing and then what you're trying to achieve in terms of fundraising.
Yeah, so we are basically an AI startup that aims to streamline supply procurement for medical and dental clinics. So this is going to be sort of like one source of knowledge for supply inventory for both clinics and vendors, as well as direct lines from vendors to clinics. So just removing middlemen and related inventory and financial tools that are going to be supported by AI.
Okay, excellent.
So,
well, that's exciting. So what are you looking at funding wise? Then what's your question?
So currently we are at zero funding. We're very early stage. We just finished an MVP and deployed it yesterday.
Oh, congrats.
So yeah, we have some meetings set up with some angels that we were able to sort of connect with through LinkedIn and through sort of like mutual friends.
Okay.
So we're gonna sort of like do that over this week, refine our pitch decks, our data rooms, our one pagers, all of the investment materials. And basically that's where we are. I guess the sort of like the chicken and egg problem here would be that we need investment to get to a point where we can reliably have paying customers.
Yeah.
But we also need customers to show, that we are a valid idea and we do deserve funding.
Yeah.
So that is something that I was wondering. We do have our champion customers that are helping us through beta testing. People that we've been able to talk to and collect data, clinics, mostly clinics. And
so you actually have customers already?
I wouldn't call them customers because they're not paying. They're more like sort of helping us in development of the product. So we get some level of access to their experience, their data, that type of stuff.
Yes. Okay.
So they're more like helping us out, but I don't think we're at a point where we can actually ask them to pay us money for the MVP as it is now.
Fair enough. Okay. So I'll start talking and you can wave your hands when I go off the rails. Okay. So I totally can relate to what you're saying. And that's why I picked yours as a first question, because I think probably most people listening are facing this similar chicken and egg problem. When we're founders, we're focused on the product and how we can make something better in the world. And pretty soon we realize we need money to make that happen, right? And how do you do both at the same time? It's a time issue as much as a money issue, really, right? Because you're trying to build an airplane that already is leaving the ground and you don't have the wings on yet, right? So it's a challenge. So I'm validating you and sympathizing. I've been there. And this applies, like I said, I think also Sankar was your name, I think, who wanted to start a luxury watch brand. Now, luxury watches and AI-assisted dental procurement are two totally different things, but you're both in the similar situation, it sounds like, because you've got something, but not enough to demonstrate the cash flows that traditional investors want. Banks are what most of the world runs on. They take loans from banks, or you could even take credit card money, right? And you run on that. But that presumes you have money to pay it back. And you don't as a startup. That's the definition of a startup in some ways, right? You don't have the money. That's the point. So what do? So you're on a great path already. And Sankar, for your watch brand, maybe not so much, but I don't know so much about that. But for a software company, well, any company really, investors don't invest in ideas much anymore. And I think Ashwin knows this, right? That's why he said some great things about they have MVP in process. They have customers demonstrating interest. All these kind of things are what you need to demonstrate what's called traction. And investors these days are convinced that, they're convinced, and I think they're right. And I'm one of these investors. I'm putting my investor hat on now. We see so many deals. We don't have to take the kind of risks we used to. 25 years ago, when I started my first company and raised my first venture round, you could kind of have an idea, and the internet was growing so fast and it was so new, you could just kind of say, we're going to go this way and customers will show up. And people would be like, okay, I never heard of that before. That sounds like a good idea. We're going to give you some money. These days, those paths are well worn, right? Everybody. I guess I'm back. All right. So what I was saying is traction is what investors are looking for these days. In other words, our job is to make the most amount of money with the least risk possible. The least risk possible means, well, you already have $1 million of profits every month. Well, if you get to that stage, you don't need the money, right? So the tension is between what can you show that makes it, here's my point. What can you show in terms of traction that makes it look like your profits are going to be inevitable? What can you show, like a series of dots that form into a line, that form a pattern that takes off? And you can say, well, we have this happened, and then this happened, and this happened, and we're pretty sure this is going to happen, and this might happen too. And if that happens, then this is going to happen. And you need to present that as like, look, this is a foregone conclusion. We're the people. We're going to do this because we know these folks. And it's about, and you already have a bunch of the pieces, Ashwin. I'm going to stop talking in a minute, let you respond. But you have you have a minimum viable product in the market. You have people who have voted already by engaging with you. Maybe they haven't put in money. Maybe they're not buying the product yet, but they seem like they're going to. Anything that you can show like that is what we call traction, which is demonstration. Here's my definition of traction, roughly. I'm working on my next book, so you're helping me think this out. Traction is anything that shows somebody else gives a shit. That's the bottom line, right? Because when you're a founding team, you guys all convince each other that this is amazing. But investors, we literally can't afford to believe you because everybody's a good talker. That's not enough. Who else cares? And that's why, for example, you don't find solo teams much anymore. Like a solopreneur isn't enough. We need to know that you've convinced some other people this is a good idea, and those are your co-founders, your teammates. And then we want to see that you've convinced some customers, and they may not have paid yet because the product may not be finished, but maybe you have, a relationship, or they've let you put their logo on your website, or you've signed a letter of intent or a memorandum of understanding, or there's some, promise, ideally a purchase order that says when this is available, we've got $100,000 waiting for you, that kind of stuff. That is what traction looks like before you have revenues. Is that helpful? Am I on the right track?
Yeah, it is. So for example, let's say so we did apply to YC.
Okay.
And we didn't.
Hold on. YC is Y Combinator. So
yes, it's Y Combinator. Yeah.
Best known startup accelerator based out of Silicon Valley. Yeah.
So we did apply, and we ended up finishing at like the top 10%. We didn't quite get, through.
Mm-hmm.
But is throwing that out also traction? Like, is every piece that sort of validates our idea?
Yes.
That beyond, let's say, like the paying customer.
Yes.
So the point is, I guess, to sort of like let's say put that together and throw that in as our pitch before I guess pre-revenue.
Yeah, and that's right. Because think about it from our point of view for a second. You come in, you're a brilliant, handsome guy with all the answers. Like, that's awesome. But if no one else has agreed with you, then you're an actor. Right? I don't invest in actors, right? I invest in businesses. So what can you show me? And it's better if it isn't like 1,000 tiny things, right? It's some significant ones, right? So use your best judgment. But yeah, like you said, so yeah, YC, and you got accepted at all is the thing, right? I mean, that's very competitive, right? So, in the university world, okay, you didn't go to Harvard, but you went to the University of Michigan. Well, that's totally good, right? So maybe you're still a real guy, right? And you are proving that it's something bigger than what's between your ears and your dreams, that there are other people that care. And so, yes, right. I would, again, not 1,000 little things like your mom gave you a round of applause and your uncle bought you a new toothbrush because he was so excited, but like real stuff. And it, 6 or 10 bullet points of those, trying again to make an equation, because as investors, we're running numbers all the time. So the more that these can be quantified is another point, like growth percentages or the number of this, the number of that. And we're looking at those points. And if you give me 6 or 8 points, I'm putting them in an equation. This plus this, discounted by that, multiplied by that. I'm trying to believe you, but you got to give me some numbers to do something with. So anything you can say is better than nothing. And the better, more impressive things obviously are better. So how's that?
Understood. Okay. Yeah, that pretty much clears that up for me.
Excellent. All right. Well, I hope that was helpful. So nice to meet you. And I think you said you wanted to be back later to pitch too. So I'm going to turn you off, but nice to meet you. And we're going to move on to some pitches here. So that was...
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome, Ashwin. Nice to meet you. So that was Ashwin checking in from India. And I didn't go what city it was. Maybe he'll tell us later. India's a big place, right? All right. And then I think we were going to bring on Wendell. So Wendell wanted to practice his pitch. There he is.
Yep.
Hi, Wendell.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Scott. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let me give everybody the quick version of the pitch. So what we do for pitches here is take a minute or two. So not a 10-minute pitch, and there's no slides. It's just a verbal thing, just kind of like you're having a conversation, but I guess a structured conversation, you might call it. So 60, 90 seconds, 120 seconds, and give us the what, why, wherefore, and how much. And then I'll try to give you some supportive feedback. And of course, everybody that's listening, please listen carefully and give Wendell suggestions to how he can improve. Because even if he's a total rock star, which I'm sure he is, there's always room for improvement, right? Even Olympic athletes have coaches, right? So everybody's going to contribute here and hopefully help Wendell get to the next level, because he's on stage tomorrow, he said, right? Your first pitch tomorrow. So, okay. So here we go. So give us a minute or two and tell us about Synchro Foods.
Sure. We are Synchro Foods. My name is Wendell Reyes. I bootstrapped an online management services for restaurants where I manage online orders. We have a tablet that we also consolidate all the orders for them to make it easier. So I've been doing this for about 4 years already. Been very successful with it. And right now we have an opportunity to go after a big sector of in New York City that's been untapped. The reason being because most of the owners are Hispanic or they're foreigners. They don't speak the language and they're not tech savvy. And that's the grocery stores, or AKA bodegas in New York. A lot of these bodegas, they sell groceries. Well, they do. Oh, they all sell groceries, but a lot of them sell hot food as well, sandwiches, street food, burgers, and we already signed about 20 of them in my current company, and we're doing really well with them. We do about $8,000 a month in online sales now. So they went from 0 to 8,000, and we decided to do something strictly for them. So it's 3 services that we're going to provide. One is a bodega app where people could order. They could order from their favorite bodega, whatever it is, whether it's a chopped cheese sandwich, a Philly cheesesteak, or a gallon of milk. We also manage everything for them, meaning that it doesn't matter they don't speak their language or they're not tech savvy. We are now become the managers. We open up their Uber accounts. We manage all the menus. We do everything for them. So that's been very successful so far with restaurants for me. And we're going to put that with that niche market that's untapped. Besides that, we're also going to offer an app that on the same tablet and the same hardware, the bodegas could order from the provision providers. So the meat providers, we're going to have deals in place to get, because of the buying power. So the bigger our network, the more buying power we have to go to a meat provider and say, hey, how much can you give us a box of chicken for? And then we could make it really easy for them to order right on the hardware that they're already using, and take some commission from there. And I would say the third phase of the project is to build the network of bodegas and build a virtual brand with the food that bodegas sell. So basically, all these bodegas is pretty much sell the same thing. And it's just like Mr. Beast has Mr. Beast Burgers, we're going to have our virtual brand called Fritura King. Fritura is the fried food, the street food that everybody loves. The $8,000 we sell a month from these bodegas is mostly that fried food. And we're going to make a virtual brand where anybody in the city could look up a commercial, order online, and the closest bodega will deliver the food for them.
Nice.
So we're already, like I said, we're already working with about 20 bodegas on the first phase, which is the management and the online sales. Now we're ramping up to do the second phase, which is the provision ordering. My co-founder is the president of.
I think we're running out of time here.
Yeah,
so why don't you wrap it
so
up?
I guess one last thing is that my co-founder, which I forgot to say, he's the president of the biggest bodega coalition in the city. Oh. And he'll bring all his resources with getting clients and dealing with the provision providers.
Excellent. Okay, well, good job. So I think that was very good. I'll have some suggestions, of course, but I want to invite everybody in the chat room out there, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you're watching. If you have suggestions, I'm sure that Wendell would appreciate it. And just to point this out, if we do this, I do this every month, and there's a bunch of these episodes online already. So if you're working on your own pitch, you can go back and watch other pitches and see the feedback that I and other people have given them. It's kind of a free masterclass in pitching if you want, and it's all there on YouTube for you if that's helpful. Okay, so congratulations, Wendell. That was nice. Nice job. So I'm gonna focus on the negatives, not the positives, because let me do the positives just to be nice. You're well spoken. You're personable. You speak clearly, which helps. You know the business, which is very good. Sometimes people are a little shaky, right? So I can tell you've done this and you know the thing. You have a nice way, like your confidence inspiring. Like if this was a business interested in me, this is a guy I trust this guy. So that's hard to teach, right? So luckily you're blessed with a nice personality. So
Thank you.
okay, so what could you do better? Several things. Most of that was about the business. Sorry, it was about the product. I didn't hear very much about the business. I'm an investor. I don't want to know so much what you're doing as how you make money. So the only numbers I heard in the whole thing were 20 bodegas signed up and 8,000 a month in revenues. So that's good, but I need like 5 times that amount of numbers. Like how many bodegas? Like how many are you going to have in a year? Like how many did you have last year? Like give me some sense of growth. And then the number, the 8,000 a month in revenue is great, but that's obviously, I'm thinking, gross revenue. What's the net revenue? Like, how much do you guys make? What's your cut of this, right? Because you could have $1 billion in revenue, but if you only make $1 a year, you're going to go out of business, right? So you don't need to answer me now, but these are things that investors are going to ask you, right? So 8,000 a month sounds good because it's way more than 0, which is good. But I'd like to know, what was it last month? What's it going to be in 6 months? And especially what's your cut? Because that's the business. And that's the piece your whole talk was missing. And I call it a talk. It wasn't really a pitch. You kind of were just talking about the business. If you're going to sell the business, it's got to be a pitch. You have to have a little more of an agenda, and you need to give us what they call the unit economics. If we sign up one bodega, we expect this much per month from them, a gross order volume of this, and our cut is this, which is a margin of this percentage. Over time, we expect that margin to grow because of this. Like, give us the, when you're in there getting your hands dirty, how are you going to make more money? How do you make the money in the first place? And then how are you going to grow that? You hid one of your best features, which is your co-founder's the head of this big association, because one of the hardest things is to get distribution, especially with something mom and pop stores, right? But this guy, I guess, has already got relationships. I would put that way earlier in your pitch, right? Or your own background, because you didn't say much about who you were either, other than that you'd been doing something similar, I guess. But that's important, especially in this mom and pop shop, because those relationships are critical, right? It sounded like you have a pretty good accent. I'm guessing you might be bilingual in Spanish. That might be worth pointing out. So that's a feature. Like, I can't do that, right? So that's an advantage, right? You think about what makes you different and better, not just what is the business, but why I should care, essentially, right? And then there were 2 confusing things. You talked about, I guess there were 3 somethings, and it wasn't clear to me. Again, you don't need to answer me, but just try to be clear. There are 3 different companies, or there are 3 different phases of the same company. So just be careful with your lingo, because if you're doing 3 companies and it's 3 phases, that's 3 times 3 is 9. That scares investors because you're doing too many things at once. Like, don't be careful about how you talk about your plans, because we want to invest in one thing, and that we want that to be all you're doing, right? We don't want you doing anything else. Do this and make $1 zillion for both of us. So just try to make it sound focused. I know as an entrepreneur, you want to cover all the bases and be sure that we understand how clever you are and that you're going to do all these cool things and all these opportunities you've spotted. But that has to be balanced with focus, because distraction is the death of more entrepreneurs than lack of funds, right? They get too scattered. So, okay, well, that's what I thought.
No, absolutely. Great feedback.
Cool. Let's see what the people said in the chat room. Let's see. What did anybody have any suggestions in the chat room, guys? Let's see. I'm trying to get over there. This interface is a little challenging. There we go. Okay. So a bunch of advice questions, but who's got suggestions for Wendell? Come on, you guys. Don't be stingy. Okay, good questions from Lou and Delta and Encyclopedia and Crestwood Montessori. All right, well, they're still warming up, I guess. Okay. I thought it was good. With those caveats, I think you're going to be in good shape. The hardest part to teach is knowing the business and being friendly and articulate, and you've got that. So if you polish a little and focus more on the business drivers rather than the product, that would help. And don't feel bad. That's what we all do. Like, you start the business because you love the product and the process and the people, right? But investors, especially VCs, when you get to that level, they have a mandate to invest in specific types of businesses, and you need to fit into that box. So the sooner you give them the numbers, the sooner they can decide whether they can help you or not.
Correct. All right. Thank you very much.
Cool. All right. Nice to meet you. Hope to hear more about Synchro Foods in the near term. And we're going to let our friend Wendell go from New York City. And when I lived in New York, I loved eating at bodegas. So I'd definitely be a customer. But I live in California now. Okay, there we go. So Crestwood's got your feedback was dead on. Was waiting for the pitch. Yeah. What did he? What did he need? Excellent point. You didn't ask for anything. That's a really good point. Thank you. What are the numbers? I kind of said that, but what did you need? Was a great point there. So whenever you have a chance to pitch, and this is for everybody, you want to ask for something, right? And even if it's not money, of course you can say, we're looking for $2 million or whatever, but you can also say, we'd like introductions to people like this, or we're hiring for this kind of person, or, whatever it is that would be helpful. When you get an audience, people that take their time to listen to these kind of pitches, we generally want to help, and we can't invest in everything. So if you give us some ways to help you, I need an introduction to an attorney, something, it can be pretty low bar. Or do you know an accelerator that helps people like us? Those kind of questions. We have wide networks, and we do this because we want to help. So be sure to ask. That's a great point. All right. So that was our friend Wendell. Let's move on here. Okay. So Chelsea wanted to pitch. Khurram wanted to pitch. Kat wanted to pitch. Ashwin wanted to pitch. Okay. So let's do another question real quick. Gia was here last time. I'm going to bring Gia. Are you still here, Gia? Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about this cross-border thing for a second, because I know we had a good conversation last time. I just want to help you out, and then we'll get back to more pitches. So give people just the quick version of the question, and we'll see if we can help.
Yeah, thank you. Last time you helped us to understand how could we approach to international market and international investors, and we did move quite well. We received a few investors' interest, and among them, one of them proposed to our co-founders saying, is that possible? We three founders together join that company, and that company is mainly for the Chinese and UK market, British market, and they are currently considering increase their capabilities in technology, so we could help them to do that, and they are hoping to increase their international markets, for example, in the United States. And I'm not sure whether this could be a good opportunity for us. The company is in the education industry and technology company helping the international students increasing their studies. Yeah, that's the case. I hope you could, if possible, could you give us your thoughts if this is a good business and a good opportunity for us?
I don't so what's the question?
The question is if the education technology company grow the company, would be a good opportunity for us to join and to help the company to grow in international markets like US.
Okay, so they're a US-based company and they're inviting to partner with you to enter the US market? Is that kind of the idea?
They are actually a British company based in the UK, but they have markets in China and in the UK. And they are looking for opportunity to grow in the US.
Oh, so you would partner together to enter the US?
Yeah, they were talking about the possibilities. We are joining their technology department to helping them to increase their capabilities in software.
Right. Okay. So if I'm understanding it correctly, then yes, it sounds like a good idea. It comes down to the details, though, because you'd really need to know who owns what and who owes what. And if things go well, how does it work out? And if things don't go well, how does it work out? Or if debts are incurred, who pays them? Or if you raise money, who gets the equity from that, how you split it? I mean, that's very, I'm happy to help, but it's specific enough. I'm not sure I can. The ed tech market in the United States is certainly huge. I guess I would add that it kind of goes up and down, and a lot of investors have been kind of burned with it because it seems so easy and it's a lot harder than you think, but you probably know that. So I think partnering could be a great idea. It's just hard to tell without knowing more specifics. A lot of it would come down to, it sounds like, if you're both new to the US markets, who has the best networks into those target customers already. And that's really hard to quantify because even if somebody has a fantastic contact, just the introduction enough isn't alone, right? So they shouldn't get all the credit for that. Then you have to set up milestones about who's going to follow up and who's going to deliver, and tracking hours, and it can get very complicated very quickly. So I don't think I can help you more than that. If I can put this is complicated enough. I do some private consulting if you wanted to talk through it more. I have to charge for that just because it takes my time. Hold on, I'll put up the URL if I can find it for you and your team if you'd like to speak. There we go. So I do video. I'll do review people's decks or do private calls. But they cost. I charge like $500 an hour just because I have to. Otherwise, I don't have any time. And that's still half of what lawyers in this space charge. So if that would be helpful, you or anybody else happy to do that. But I don't have an easy answer for you. But that's why you're here, right? It's a complicated question. So is that helpful at all? Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, nice to see you, Gia. Hope to see you guys. I hope it keeps going well for you. It sounds like you're making progress, and that's the hard part to do. Is like we were talking about with Ashwin a few minutes ago, was making sure anybody else cares. And the fact that some other company wants to partner with you is really good sign, because presumably if it's a company, these are adults who have some expertise and assets, and they see value in what you're doing. That's a perfect example. Actually, Ashwin or other folks, if you're looking for traction and people want to partner with you, it's maybe not quite as good as customer, but it's pretty good, right? To have somebody, again, validating the ideas that you have and showing that the market is interested in your solutions. That's the key. Okay, so let's get on with some more pitches. So let's go on. Okay, let's go to Chelsea is the next one on my list. Here is Chelsea. Hi, Chelsea.
Scott.
Hi, nice to see you. So you heard the pitch ideas, the structure? Does that sound good?
Yes, and I'm ready to give it a go.
All right, let's do that then. So why don't you take a minute or two and tell us about your company and what you're looking for. And everybody else, please chime in with suggestions of how she could be. I'm sure it's going to be great, but how she could be even better. So go ahead, Chelsea, whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Okay, well, my name is Chelsea, and I am the founder of Laundered. And Laundered is an online fashion repair service specifically catering to the luxury consumer. And we offer the trust, transparency, and experience that we know this consumer craves. And I built Laundered based on my own personal experience buying my first luxury handbag. I wanted to wear this thing day in and day out, but soon realized that with that kind of wear comes wear and tear. And I only had the other option of putting it in the back of my closet, waiting for a special occasion, which as a mom of two does not exist. And so I realized the only place I could turn to for help was my local mom and pop cobbler, who didn't really elicit the level of trust or expertise that I felt comfortable with. And so that's why I built Laundered. We start with a simple platform online that gives you access to high quality repair for luxury goods. And I crafted the consumer experience based on what I know about this consumer, giving them that trust, transparency, and concierge service that I know that they crave. And I know we've nailed it because all of our reviews so far have been 5 stars. And after launching our MVP about 6 months ago, we're already seeing incredible traction. We've already serviced over $200,000 worth of luxury items, and 20% of our customer base have already come back for more. And so today is the day we need to start to scale. So I'm seeking $70,000 worth of investment so I can perfect our MVP platform and put marketing dollars behind an impactful launch. And we have other tailwinds at our advantage, showing the true potential of Laundered. Fashion sustainability is a huge topic right now, with circularity at the forefront of that. And luxury resale is growing exponentially. So more than ever before, everyone has access to luxury. And the biggest reason to believe is me. I am a Kiwi from New Zealand. I am a brand builder since ages ago, with a resume that shows that I have grown brands like UGG Australia, Compass Real Estate, and Chipotle. So I know how to make brands resonate, and I plan to do the same for Laundered.
Okay, very nice. Just writing notes. Okay, very good. Nicely done. Have you done this before?
No, this is my first time.
I don't know why I could kind of tell, but it wasn't because it wasn't great. I guess it was very well done.
Okay.
Yeah, seriously, nicely done. Sorry, I dropped my notes. So great. I have some feedback, of course, but everybody in the chat room, please let Chelsea know what you thought and help her out. I think that was really good for a first time. My goodness. You're gonna nail this very quickly. I think I can tell you have professional experience in your background. Okay, so let's again, everybody, excellent job, says Crestwood. Okay, that's a good start. So what would I do differently is the question, right? Because you're well spoken and personable and so forth. So what could you do better or differently? I guess the main thing is that I don't know anything about fashion handbags.
Sure.
So I think you need to back up on that. And, you have to adjust this with your audience, right? If you meet someone who's a fellow, like a customer who already uses the service, you can skip this. But most angel investors, they look like me, right? Mm-hmm. They're 50 plus white guys who are not your target market, right? So you've got to back up and say something. I don't know what it is, but fashion hags are a thing. They're a really big thing. And with numbers, I mean, like this kind of market, the typical price point is this. People own them like this. Like you got to tell me, like if you talked about like golf clubs, you'd have no problem, right? But you're talking about handbags. So, and I've lived this with some startups that I'm involved with, like that do cosmetics and stuff like that. And the men in the room, their eyes just glaze over immediately, right? So you've got to relate this to your audience. And if you're pitching, if you can find an angel investment group that is women, this will be easier, right? Like Golden Seeds or OCA. Actually, there's a couple in Orange County I should introduce you to. But start with some context. And this is true for everybody. The number one problem I see with pitches, and unfortunately, this is a little bit for you, but for everybody else as well, is you're so close to the product, you presume we know what you're talking about. We have no fucking idea what you're talking about. I never thought about a $2,000 handbag before, right? Well, if I did, my wife or daughters wanted it. I said, no, I try to stay away from it, right? So you got to bring this down so I can digest it, right? Why is this interesting? All right, you got the point on that. I can make jokes about that all day, but it's a mismatch, right? So you got to bring it into terms that I can understand. Okay. Second, you have some great corporate experience, it sounds like, and you should probably bring that up sooner. So because you look professional, but tell us, those are big brands you're talking about, right? You answered my question. I could hear your accent. I was guessing Aussie or Kiwi, and it was Kiwi. So then sometimes it's South African, so you don't want to be.
I know it's a hybrid at this point.
Right, fair enough. You had good in terms of sharing some numbers. So 6 months, you had the MVP out there. The fact that you're already in market and generating revenue, you should make a bigger deal of that, right? Because you can hear a lot of other pitches that are people earlier stage. You actually are you have a business. This isn't an idea. That's a big distinction. Like it's 0 to 1, right? You're not 0, you're 1. It's binary. It's one or the other. You have a business. So act like it, right? Like we're selling this much. We did $200,000 serviced. I don't know what serviced means. So you need to unpack that. This is similar to what I said to Wendell. He did 8,000 a month, but that's gross. Like what do you net? Right. So break down the pieces for it. Because again, investors, we're doing the math in our heads. And if you give us fuzzy numbers, we can't do real math. So 200,000 service, that meant that we kept 20,000 of it. Our average take rate is 10% margin. We expect that to grow over time like this. That's what I need to hear so that I know it's a business, not a hobby. 20% recurring. That sounded good. You see, I wrote those numbers down, right? That's what I need is the numbers. I don't know. Is 20% a lot or a little in this context? Honestly, it doesn't sound that high, but maybe that's because these are, I don't own 50 handbags and need one repaired every week, right? But Netflix recurring has got to be like 80 or 90, right? So if you're going to say that 20%, you need to qualify it because it sounds low compared to most software subscription businesses. Maybe there's a different way to frame it, like, customers who own 6 handbags bring at least 4 of them every year or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like some other way because 20% just sounds low. It's not maybe in this context, but again, I need more context. The trends at the end were interesting. You might want to do that up front.
Okay.
I don't know, because it paints the picture. That might be more of the context, right? But honestly, those are also nice to have. Not, the fact that it's eco-friendly and so forth is super cool, but it's not going to change my investment decision, right? So you might just drop it. It's kind of up to you, right? It's just taking time when I'd rather hear about the numbers, but up to you kind of. My biggest point is if it's the 70K, you did a good job of asking for money. And that's great. Everybody needs to do that. $70,000 is not enough to be raising. $70,000 is like and this may not be you, and it certainly wasn't me when I was raising money for my companies, but a lot of people just put that on their credit cards.
Mhm.
So if you're going to go to all the trouble of raising money, I would try to raise $500,000,
Okay.
or some real money, because $70,000, at least to rich people, they're like, what? Like,
Yeah.
I'll just, that's less than my private jet fly. It takes to fly across country, kind of thing. So,
Sure.
or like 25 grand because it's one person, right?
Mhm.
70 is this weird kind of like, you need a chunk, but not a real chunk. So we're
Yeah.
not, it makes it sound like you don't know the market.
Got it.
And I don't know, this is no shame at all. Like if you don't have that money or your friends don't have that money, that's fine. But investors think that once you're rich, everybody's rich. You hang out with a lot of rich people, right? So it's a real hole in our system. And I spend a lot of time on this in my books, and it offends me, frankly, that people presume everybody has money. Oh, $300,000, just get that from your friends and family. Like, I grew up poor. Like, I didn't have any, so no shame in that at all. But the fact is 70 is too much for a person.
Yeah.
And too little for a group. So, yeah.
That's fair.
So anyway, that's probably enough on that. So hopefully that's helpful. Anybody in the chat room? Let's see what else. Let's see. Well done. Very concise and clear. That's nice. Mention your customer reach and profit. Those are good thoughts. Why isn't this is supposed to show up on the? Oh, I see. Hold on. I'm in the wrong window. Give me a second here. I'm going to share that. It was a nice comment.
Mhm.
There. Come on. Okay. Zakona says, very well done. Very done. Mention your customer reach and profit. So I kind of said that. Actually, customer reach is good. Accredited by the luxury brands. That's interesting. If there's some sort of accreditation or something.
Mhm.
Profit, I talked about, but customer reach is interesting. How are you going to reach these people? That's a really good point.
Mhm.
That is the number one problem these days. The internet is so big. How are you going to find these people? Word of mouth is nice, but that's not going to build a global brand, right? You're going to need some kind of customer acquisition strategy.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't know yet, and that's okay, but you should at least say something about it so that we know that you've thought about it. Otherwise, it sounds like you're building a small lifestyle business,
Sure.
and you want to look bigger. TAM, SAM, SOM would be useful. Yep. That means total addressable market, serviceable addressable market, serviceable obtainable market. And that's part of the context question that I had. So I agree with that. That was from our good friend LinkedIn user. And then this one, how much equity? So this is a debatable point. It's not wrong. You can say 70K for what percentage? That's totally reasonable. But a lot of times people don't do that because you're not sure yet, or you want to save that for a subsequent conversation. You might, a good way to get in between that is to say something about flexibility. Like we're looking for 70 grand at a valuation of 1 million to 5 million, or so, give some sense that you're flexible. And an even better way is to be more specific about the format. We're thinking about a post-money safe note, a convertible note, an equity round. If you can just sound like you've thought about it, the whole point here is just to get to the next meeting. So that would probably be helpful as well. All right. So Delta Rising loves the sustainability angle. So yes, a lot of people do, right? But I don't disagree. I just don't know that that's going to change the investor's opinion about the business.
Sure.
You'd have to debate that yourself. So, okay, how's that? Was that helpful?
That was great. I just have one question. How do I know what data points to include in like a 1 minute or 2 minute pitch, and what to save for subsequent conversations?
Yeah, that's a good question. How do you know what to say in the initial pitch? I think in terms of an equation.
Okay.
Some kind of numbers that tell me you're for real. So it depends on how long the initial pitch is, but something, I mean, you come across pretty professional anyway. Normally I would say lead with your brand marketing expertise or something like that, but you come across pretty professional anyway. So depending how much time you have, may or may not include some of your corporate resume, just so that they know you're an adult, but you seem like an adult, so maybe you can skip that.
Thanks.
But then the rest is numbers. So the quickest way to get my attention is to say, let me just do it without explaining it. We're attacking a target market of $30 billion. We have 300 customers paying an average of $100,000 a month with a 20% gross margin, a 5% profit margin. We're growing at 15% a month compounded. I want to hear about it now. I don't care what industry it is, right? numbers are what speak to investors.
Got
And what
it.
we really want to hear is it's a big enough market that there can be money made without you like controlling the market. If you say it's $1 billion market and we're going to take a 95% market share, bullshit, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's not right. It's got to be a big market. You have a reasonable way, a path to get there quickly, and that is going to be that it's profitable. And the number one thing, as I said earlier, the broadcast was growth. If you can talk about how fast you're growing, once you talk about growth, it validates everything. You have a product,
Yeah.
customers are interested, and more customers are becoming interested. That answers so many questions immediately that I'm interested. And again, I don't really even care what the market is. If it's growing like crazy, if there's a rocket ship, I want to see, right? So
Sure.
that's how it works. So hopefully that's helpful.
No, that's super helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, nice to see you. Hope to
Nice
see you in person one of these days. If you're local here, and
Yes.
we have a lot of events, and hope you're on our calendar for the Orange County Startup Council. That's probably how you heard about this, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you. We'll take all the help I can get.
Yeah, fair enough. Nice to see you. Okay, so that was Chelsea, and she's from Southern California here, like me. And we're going to move on to next is Carrie Grace. So Carrie is going to talk about her academy, I think, but she can tell us. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
All right. Well, let's hear. You want to do your pitch?
Yes, I'm ready. Hi, I'm Carrie Grace, CEO and founder of St. Bonaventure. Cleveland rocks. As a Cleveland native who lives and breathes all things Cleveland, yes, I am a Browns fan. It breaks my heart to say that when it comes to education, Cleveland ranks third lowest among the 100 largest cities in the United States. In addition, almost 1 in 4 children live in a family with no working parents, and the percentage of Cleveland adults holding a bachelor's degree is the 5th lowest among the nation's 100 largest cities. St. Bonaventure Academy believes education is the solution. We are looking for people who want to support our mission to break the socioeconomic strain that often plagues marginalized communities. We aim to do this by implementing our innovative educational model in the Northeast Cleveland area that will not only serve our students, but the surrounding community as well. As we think outside of the box, St. Bonaventure Academy will not only be Cleveland's first international diversity and cultural respect, but it will also create a sustainable change to empower Cleveland's most economically challenged area to break the cycle of poverty and in turn the challenges that are created by poverty. While I personally have invested thousands in this venture, 100% of St. Bonaventure Academy's board gives because we are committed and truly believe in our mission. We are starting to gain interest and supporters by using every opportunity we have to talk about the issue and use the data that we've collected for over 10 years to prove that St. Bonaventure is the solution. Unlike any nonprofit schools currently operating in Cleveland, we have developed a funding model that will ensure we are completely self-sustainable by year 7 of operations. We are seeking $400,000 for our pre-seed efforts to secure a prime position for us to hit our financial goals moving forward. A building is just a building, an idea, just an idea, and a plan, just a plan, until you find the people who can inspire others to make it come to life. We are not only committed to this mission, but its sustainability. By applying clear expectations, high standards, we will not fail. The world deserves better, Cleveland deserves better, and our community deserves better. Join us in this amazing opportunity to make a difference.
All right, lovely. So everybody in the chat room, help her out with any suggestions you might have. I've got comments, of course, that's my role here. But if you'd like to hear more, and especially if you'd like to support what she's building, it sounds like she could use the help and deserves the help. Okay, so very impressive, actually depressing, right? The statistics about Cleveland. I don't know if you know this, but I'm from Detroit, so I've very much sympathized with this. And I spent a lot of time, actually the profits from my books here all go back to college scholarships in inner city Detroit, where I grew up in inner city Detroit. So I can definitely relate. That being said, couple things. You're reading, which is not ideal, right? We want people to sound like you really know this stuff, and I know you do. So I would suggest a strategy that it was a little more bullet pointy and just kind of riff a little, so it feels more authentic. Not that it was it was good. It was very clear, but you're spending time wordsmithing instead of connecting. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yep.
So I think it would be more effective if you engage, from live, essentially. The real problem is that this is not a business, right? And we're here to talk about businesses. So I'm happy to give you the airtime because I believe in what you're doing. I don't have any real advice for you because investors are looking for a financial return, and that's 100% valuable thing to do, but you're in the wrong room, right? This is not anything I can do to help you. Nobody in this audience is going to have 400 grand to do this, because if they give you 400, they want 40 million back, right? And that's not what you're doing. And that doesn't mean what you're doing isn't amazing and cool. It's just, it's a different room, right? So I'm happy to help and give feedback, but this isn't the right venue for you, right? This is more about grants and foundation, nonprofit raising and stuff like that, which is super important. I'm sorry to put you off, but that's it's a different thing. So if you want to do this, I'm trying to put on my nonprofit hat because I do a lot of nonprofit work as well. The fact that you mentioned all your advisors are investors or contributors, I think that's very powerful. I think you're most likely to get support from the local community. So I would lean on those folks like crazy. Who do they know? Who do they know? Because the story of Cleveland is a dramatic one, but it's not going to get much attention necessarily in Los Angeles or Atlanta or Mumbai, right? Because they've got their own problems, right? So it's probably a Northeast Ohio pitch rather than this, which is global. There's a lot of foundation. You know this stuff. I'm just trying to be helpful, but at least in Detroit, there's the Kresge Foundation, the Skillman Foundation, the Davidson Foundation, the Ford Foundation. All that came out of the money that Detroit had when it was the Silicon Valley of America. I would presume there's similar stuff in Cleveland because there's plenty of money in Cleveland, at least historically, right? And I would just be banging on those doors to see who you could get to pay attention. That's about all I got. It's not my expertise. This is a long way of saying this is not my expertise, but I'm trying to help.
No, it's helpful. It's very helpful. Thank you.
Let's see. Let's look at these other comments in the chat room. It sounds like you're an NPO. Is there a way you can make it into a company? Is this possible? Yeah. So Zakona is hitting on kind of what I'm saying. Could you? I mean, legally, Zakona, yes, you could convert into a for-profit, type corporation. But is anybody gonna? You don't want to be trying to make a profit off of students, right? So it's kind of cross purposes. That's why we have nonprofits. The in between is there's something called a public benefit corporation. I don't know if that would apply here, or Carrie, if you've heard about those. But those are companies that it's a legal corporation as opposed to a nonprofit corporation, but it's allowed to not just focus on shareholder returns, but to have a social impact sort of focus as well. And so it's a different legal vehicle. I don't know that would help, but since Zakona brought it up, that I'll just toss that out there in case that would be helpful. Let's see. And the Crestwood Montessori, right. Crestwood Montessori agrees, since they're in education as well. No surprise. A little more about what makes it different. And you need impact investors. Thank you, Crestwood. That's the idea. Impact investors, the phrase. There are investors that do this where they invest for what they call impact. So I would go on, on Startup Investors Directory is the service that we have. You search for impact investors or just Google Impact Investors Ohio and see what funds, foundations, and grant programs there are that can help you, because it certainly sounds like a valid mission. But it's not something that software and biotech investors are they might do it in their private time, but it's not the business that we're talking about here today. So,
perfect. No, I appreciate it. The pitch practice was what I needed because that's where I get nervous.
Sure. Well, you did a fine job. Yeah. So if you can practice a few more times and a little less reading, a little more from the heart, I think you can have a really nice impact. And then you just got to find the right rooms, like 100 of them, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Well, great. Well, nice to see you again. I'm glad you came back anyway, even if we're not super helpful, happy to support. So hope to see Carrie again. And certainly sounds like she's got her work cut out for her, and Cleveland deserves the help, as many of our cities do. Okay, so we've got a couple left here. I've got Khurram and Kat. If you guys are still here, let's see who's still in the chat room hanging out. Oh, let's see. Kat is still here, and John, who's that? Sorry, some of you guys wrote in. Right. Okay, John. So John looks like he came in, and he's one of our. I'm just going to bring him on a second here. John, I just want to see who you are. There he is. Hey, John. So are you with the Quibble?
Yep, you got it.
That's you.
I
Okay.
gotta shut my door. Hang on. Sorry. One second.
No, that's okay. I'll bring you back. I just wanted to make sure it was the right guy because I don't know you. We'll have you pitch in a minute. We've got three pitches before we wrap up. And I didn't know you, and you weren't here earlier. So, okay. So we've got 3 pitches. And let me just check the chat room, folks. I've been negligent. I've been too busy talking. And then we're going to bring on our pitchers. So the comments here. Crowdfunding. Okay, we could talk about crowdfunding for a minute. Let me give you the quick. Let's just put this up here for a second. Crowdfunding. I want to showcase this one because it's a good question, but also because Crestwood Montessori has been helpful in giving feedback to other people. So I want to thank him or her for their time. So crowdfunding, funding for production of a board game we create to teach struggling dyslexic readers how to read. Okay, so crowdfunding is awesome, and it's for exactly the kind of thing you're talking about because you can target a specific community of people who care. A general marketing campaign, like TV commercials or something, if you had that kind of money, won't work necessarily because the number of people interested in supporting a board game for dyslexics is going to be very small in a broadcast. But a targeted crowdfunding campaign could be great. The problem is that presumes you have a community. It's a mistake to think that crowdfunding platforms are available to help you market your investment. What they really are is an administrative platform that can help you collect the money and do it legally and allocate the issuing of shares to the people that send in the investments. So I'm a fan of crowdfunding, but you really need to have an audience of your own first. If you have spent some time and money and effort developing, say, an email list or a Facebook community or a Discord channel, whatever your medium is, and you have hopefully thousands of people who are already interested in this kind of thing, then that gives you a place to market your crowdfunding offer. If you go and set up a crowdfunding offer and you don't have that audience already, it's not going to do you much good. And in fact, the crowdfunding platforms probably won't even accept your offer because you're going to put something up and you're going to throw a party and nobody's going to attend, right? So if you're ready to go to market with an audience of your own to raise money, then I think crowdfunding is amazing. So happy to talk about that more in future episodes if you'd like. But that is my initial take. And once you have that audience and you do the crowdfunding, you got to be ready to market it like crazy. So that's why you need your own audience. Sankar keeps texting. Yes, the luxury watch brand. Yeah, Sankar, this show is mostly about software and biotech and life sciences and venture capital backed things. I tried to help you out with the conversation with Ashwin. You could rewind and watch that. A luxury watch brand is not something you can really start from scratch unless you have a bunch of money already. It's very much a chicken and egg thing. So you need to develop some kind of traction. Maybe you have customers or design expertise or some competitive advantage. And then you just got to hustle. I would go work for Rolex for a while and see what you can learn. You mentioned you're 15 years old, and that's not necessarily a disqualifier, but it suggests that you don't have industry expertise. So I would go get some industry expertise and figure out how the game really works because you're shooting high, which I admire, but you got to be realistic about it as well. And I don't know that a luxury watch brand is something you can start from scratch very easily. Frankly, I would see if you can reach out on LinkedIn or other places and find some mentors who know that industry, or maybe in your town, there's some jewelers or high-end watch dealers and see where you can start. And you're going to have to take some baby steps and then walk before you can run. All right, let's see. Is there a checklist a founder can use to evaluate an investor's background? This will help the founder prepare appropriate content to bring the investor up to speed faster. That's a great question, actually. I don't know of such a checklist, but my next book that I'm working on, we talk a lot about how you need to do a lot more research on your investors When you're a new founder, you kind of see every person as a checkbook, and you just hope that one of them sticks, but that's not the way to do it. You end up in the wrong room. You want to be in the right room, and that requires investment beforehand. I would look at, the short answer is I would do as much research as you can online. We have a service, actually. Let me put this up. Actually, I built this kind of for this question. Startupinvestorsdirectory.com is just what it sounds like. It's a directory of startup investors, and we've got 3,000 different early stage startup investors. And the reason I bring it up is because you can see other businesses that they have invested in. And that's the best way to qualify an investor, is to figure out where have they had success and where do they spend their time already, because they've obviously, that's their job essentially, right? So you don't want to pitch a biotech startup to an aerospace investor, and you don't want to pitch a luxury watch investment to someone who does restaurants, right? It's different things. All money is not the same. So this is a place you could go, and there's a coupon code there, and you can sign up there and search. There's 48 different categories of investors, I think, and there's keyword search and location search and really drilling it down. So that's something I would recommend to you if you're looking for for investors. And similar question here. Yeah, your second question is, what's a polite way to get a background info on the investors? That is what I would do. I would not go into a meeting where you don't already know as much about them as they do you. That's kind of a starting place, and that's kind of your job. Before you go into a meeting, you've got to do your research. Otherwise, you don't know who you're talking to. You might be giving away your secrets as possible. Okay. All right. And then what else here? I want to see if there are any other questions I missed. Okay. Okay, good. All right, so let's go back to our pitches, and we have our friends in the back room. I think we had Khurram, and then Kat, and then this new gentleman whose name was John. Right, okay, so is Khurram still here? Yes, he is. Okay. Hold on a second, guys. Let me get my captions in order here so we can do this right. All right, let's... All right, a lot of juggling here. Khurram and Kat, and then John. There we go. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Does that sound good? You guys all good for that? Khurram, Kat, and then John? Yeah? Okay. Cool. All right. We'll be back in a minute then, and we'll bring you all on, and we're going to start with Khurram, a couple minutes. And Khurram, you've done this before, so let's hear a couple minutes about Irvine AI.
Yeah. So Irvine, my name is Khurram, and I'm the CEO and founder of Irvine. Irvine is a startup revolutionizing a smart home and security using AI for both homes and businesses. We have a smart integration to convert AI like motion alerts, which you receive on a smart home and security system, then the personal alert are not enough for you to understand what's going on in your life, home or business. We bring it to the level of exactly what happens. For example, somebody trying to intrude your home, or your child is running out of your home, or your dog is messing with your couch, or your grandparent just fell down in your home. I came up with this idea when my kid ran out of the home, and we found it after a while, and my Ring camera just didn't tell us anything except somebody moved. And that made me idea why this is not telling me exactly what happened. And that's how we embarked on this journey. We have developed a very beautiful edge computing device as a hardware. There's a big technological gap of edge computing, which is not available inside any home. That's why we named our brand Home Brain. Our technology brings out the cost. It makes it more efficient, and it's highly customizable by customizing problems of, for example, baby monitoring, or if you have somebody with a seizure in your home, or in a business retail setting, somebody wants to reduce the retail theft. Our technology and model can be used. On the top of that, we are building a AI marketplace where other developers who can find other problems in homes and businesses can come and develop the AI model and run on our platform and share it or sell it to other people, just like mobile app. So far, we have sold 200 units as a pre-order. We have filed 24 patents, which are pending right now. And so our sales has crossed about $50,000 in our 40 days of marketing campaign so far. We are looking to ship to our customer very soon. We have a contract manufacturing contract ongoing in China. We have a team of 25 developers, marketers, CTO, and business development working on this from like 3.5 years. We are raising $2 million on a market cap of 10 million with 20% discount as a safe note. Right now, most of this money will go to inventory and marketing. It's a $150 billion market in US, Europe, and China alone, growing at a growth rate of 25%. Just 2% of this market share can worth up to cross $250,000 in 5 years. There's a big gap in market.
I think that's probably it. Okay. All right. Great. Lots of good information in there. You would be 5 times better if you just turned it around. I want you, when we're done, to go back and watch what you just said and start at the end and say all those things in reverse order. Because it took you 1.5 minutes to even tell me that you had a product in market. I didn't even know that you had a business. I mean, I know because I've met you, but like you didn't actually say till like 1.5 minutes in that you have $50,000 of sales. That's totally different than being a seed startup. You actually have a product and you're selling it. And I think you said in 40 days of marketing, you had some results, whatever that was. Like that's what we need. You're a real company. That's a totally different thing than you're an idea, right? So it took 1.5 minutes. And before you even said that you'd had 200 units sold and you had 24 patents. Why did you take 2 minutes to tell me that? That's impressive, man. You got to think about what's going to get my attention. So I would turn the whole thing around and start with, there's a $150 billion market. I'm just looking at my notes. 25% of something you said. You can maybe save the ask till the end, but you had a nice specific ask, 2 million on a 10 million safe, 20% discount. That's good. That can still stay at the end, right? But the other stuff, you have 25 developers. You've been working on this for 3.5 years. You have contract manufacturers in place. This is the business. You spent almost all your airtime talking about the product, and the product is important, but you need to like squish the product down to like 10 seconds. You know, we built the next generation Ring camera that provides AI assisted detection of unfortunate events in your home. Done. I did it because my son ran away one day. Done. Then talk about the business, right? I've got 25 people working for me. We sold this much with this growth rate. That's what it was, 25% growth rate, $150 billion, at a 25% growth rate. The growth rates are what get our attention. So all the content was good. Just go, you've got it, man. Just like go listen and rearrange it and start with what's of most interest to me. I mean, me, the investor, right? Give me the numbers so I can do the math. Big market, growing fast, selling well, good conversions. What's the margin? Interesting. Okay, 25 people, 24 patents. Like all of those are factors in an equation, right? That I'm doing in my head as you talk. But I fell asleep because you talked about the whole history before you told me any of that. And that's my other point. Energy. You're talking like you just woke up. Like come on, like, dude, have a coffee, have a beer. I don't care. Like go, right? We want to invest in the best guy in the world, not some guy who's hanging out with his 24 developers falling asleep, right? You got to bring it. So, and I know you can. I met you in person, right? You have plenty of energy, right? You got to bring it it's showtime, right? You got 3 minutes or 2 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it is. Be ready and knock us out. Because otherwise you just run into the mess with the 50 other people we're going to meet that day. And I know you've got the personality for it. And the other thing that was missing, you didn't say anything about your personal background. So that's probably worth saying. Why are you the guy? And I don't remember. We've met, but I don't remember your specific background. You don't need to tell me now, but whatever. I have the piece about your son you said, but are you an expert in AI, or you're an engineer, or you have connections in the industry? Why are you the guy and these other 24 people that you're recruited? Why is this the team to do it? That's something that's missing. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. I know you can do this. So turn it around, spice it up, and I think you're gonna nail it. How's that?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else in the chat rooms? Let's see. Okay. Okay, Sankar, I'm going to have to ask you to leave, my friend. This is not, you're right. This is not the show for this. I don't know. I'm not a luxury brand, luxury watch guy. Okay. Yeah, I admire your energy. Yeah. Charles says, walk before you run. Yeah, that's right. Yes. And I believe you should start it, but you have to walk before you run, figure out what the steps are to get there. Okay. Let's move on to Kat was next. Let's see here, Kat. And then, okay, here's Kat. There we go. Hello, Kat.
Hey there, Scott. How are you?
Nice. I'm good. Give me 1 second here. No, this one. There we go. Okay. Cool. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You wanted to talk about Pitch AI, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, sparkedinnovations.ai.
Okay. Cool. Innovation. All right. So you got the drill, the format. You start whenever you'd like.
All right, sounds great. Thanks again. I'm Kat Wynn. I'm the CEO and founder of sparkedinnovations.ai. About a decade ago, I started out as a pharma sales rep, but my training back then was really poor. And it took me about a year to really find my footing. And I feel like people can get there faster. Right now, the pharma industry spends $2.2 billion on training that's unscalable, inefficient, and it just costs a lot of money. And people are just throwing things left and right. So I'm creating an AI platform that helps sales reps communicate effectively and build better customer relationships through conversational patterns that they have with AI generated prospects. So they get a baseline assessment, they'll converse, they'll learn tactics and techniques of a soft skill, and then they'll receive feedback on how to improve. So in this manner, we hope to increase quota achievement, accelerate revenue generation, as well as decrease costly rep turnover rate, because that can cost upwards of like $250,000 per rep. Right now, the traction we have is about 80% of people are ready to adopt a platform like this in pharma. And we've got one letter of intent from Harrow, a small pharmaceutical company. We intend to focus on the pharmaceutical sector first, but we know that this has broad range in many different sales industries and other verticals as well. It is a $1.3 billion market in terms of sales, but in the pharma, it's about 363. And over the next 5 years, we aim to gain about 36 million of that market. Go-to-market strategy, plan to use my network of over 100 people across 40 different pharma companies, as well as pharma vendors to tap into their network. We do have competition in the market already, which validates our idea. And so we plan to move forward. I myself am an award-winning national director of high-impact pharma teams, and my CTO brings over 30 years of software engineering experience, even for Fortune 500 companies. I'm looking for $750,000 in pre-seed funding. We've raised $165,000 so far, $50,000 of outside and $115,000 of my own. And we plan to complete the MVP by the end of this year and onboard the first 2,000 users in 2025. So would love to have you join us. Excellent.
That was very good. Can anybody tell that Kat has a sales background? Nicely done. No, well, she's a great example. Kat, I'm going to make you the poster child today. That's what you want to do. You want to not read it. You want to be smiley, energetic, and specific, and bring a lot of numbers. That's how it's done. So the style is great, Kat. So nicely done. So in terms of feedback, so everybody in the chat room, please let her know what you think she could do better or differently for next time. Happy to have the feedback. That's why she's here. So let's talk about what you can do better or different. So I did think it was very good. I'm not kidding. You're obviously very personable and you're polished at this kind of thing. That certainly helps. Anybody who starts a startup and thinks they're not in sales is wrong, right? Every founder is in sales. So it helps to actually be from sales when you're going to do this kind of thing, right? So what would I say? So I liked your resume was good. The target market, I understand. The scalability is very attractive because that's what we're looking for in software investing, right? You see how I can see how this would scale. What I think would be helpful as an investor is to hear a little sooner where you are, because I wasn't sure. Well, let me back up more. I would like to hear two things: what it is and where you are. So what it is, you talked about it, but I guess it's software. Like, where is it installed? Does the client do it? How is it paid for? Like, just like, what is it? Because and I don't. So I get the sense that it's a package of consulting, coaching, active feedback, metrics, reinforcement, very cool stuff. I'm curious, like, how does it actually work? And this is a great example. If you have something built, you can show a demo, or even screenshots would help a lot. We couldn't do that here, obviously, right? But like, is this something, the rep, is it on the screen when they're on a call, or is it on their phone, or, just like the mechanics of it, just because it would bring it to life for me, especially since you've built it, right? And that brings my second point. I wasn't sure what stage you were at till the end. You started talking about the MVP and how much you'd raised and stuff, but it wasn't clear to me whether this was built or not. Or this was his idea, or what stage you were at. So up front, I could a little more quickly establish this is how the thing actually looks and works, and then that will immediately inform the fact, it's built, right? But a little more about, like, we're at the seed stage, we're looking to go from this kind of stuff to this kind of stuff, and that would just help investors understand, okay, it's early, it's mid, it's late, just to give us some context, because again, we don't know unless you tell us, and I don't know, right? So I think that would help a lot, because everything you said was good. I was just left kind of wondering exactly what is it, and what is she going to want from me when she gets to the end of the 2 minutes? Because I didn't know if this was just an idea, or you had a huge team and you were raising $1 billion. I don't know, right? Until you tell me. So that context would be a lot, just managing customer expectations. The other thing I think could be super helpful for you. Who's somebody mute? That's you guys hearing that? Let's see. Who can I mute here? Yeah, if you're not muted, please do. Okay, that helped. Thank you, whoever that was. The other piece that would be really helpful, and you may not know yet, but the piece I immediately want to hear, like, if I'm on the right track, like the sales coaching and so forth, totally makes sense. And any software investor will agree with that idea that this could be done better. So I can see the lane you're aiming for, and I like it. But I would love to know some ROI, like, not just for me as an investor, of course, but I mean for clients. Like, if anybody has adopted this, what do they get out of it? Like, numbers is what I'm looking for. Like, we had 3 pilot programs, and increased close rates by 12%, or just something like that would really bring it to life. And it would also, again, reinforce that you are in market. This is not an idea, this is happening. So anything you could do about ROI, and the more the better. Like, if you could say our average engagement is $50,000 a year, and that leads to a sales lift of 6.5% on a recurring basis, and our churn rate, the more you got, the better, of course. But you didn't do any of that, and maybe it's too early, and that's fine. But that's that's going to be the next question, right? Like, who's done this, and is it paying back the investment? Because that's what they're going to want to know, and you're going to want to know that too, right? So you can say it to other clients. So
For sure. I just have one small follow-up question in terms of, you're talking about like ROI, because we're not quite there yet. We have beta testing opening up in a few months. But I think the closest traction I could show beyond that is like signups of the platform. Would that be okay?
Yeah, well, anything's better than nothing, right? So if you have nothing, then it's just an idea, and I don't believe you, because I hear a lot of other people with ideas that have traction, right? So anything you can do, you might rewind this. I don't know how late when you joined us, but earlier in the show today, I talked about traction and how to demonstrate what you have. But the short answer is anything is better than nothing. And the better stuff is better, of course. But yeah, if you have signups, that's evidence of customer intent. And the main point of traction is showing that somebody other than you gives a shit. And that's what you need to be demonstrating, right? Who else cares? And if you can do that, signups are a great way to do that. And it will hopefully lead to more things, right? So yes, that's a long way to say yes. Yeah, I'm just trying to look at my notes here. I think we covered it all. Yeah, and then you said it, but I want to reinforce. I wouldn't make it the point of the presentation, and you didn't. But we're going to start with pharma, and then there's these other things, right? So it makes a lot of sense about your beachhead market is pharma, because that's where you are, right? And then I was just writing myself a note to ask her about go-to-market, and you started talking about go-to-market, so that was good. And your personal network of representatives, at 40 different companies or something, like that's important. That's differentiating, right? So I would make a point, and you did. I'm just reinforcing. That's what we want to hear. Like, own this market, which is great, and then hopefully how can this expand both vertically and horizontally to other markets and make this a monster company. That's what investors want to hear. So there, hope that's helpful.
It was super helpful. Thank you so much, Scott.
Yeah, you're welcome. And anybody in the chat room there? Let's see. Yeah, I think that's probably good for now. All right. Yeah, it's 1:30. I got to get going here. My next call. So we got another pitch or two, but thank you, Kat, for joining us. Hope to see you again and see you. I think, did you say you were local? Maybe I'll see
I
you.
am, yes. I'm in Orange. So yeah, hopefully I'll get to see you live.
Okay. That'd be great. All right. So that was Kat. And we're going to bring up our next, and I think our last pitch for today, which is John. And apologies to the rest of you. Ashwin, I know you had another question. I think we're going to run out of time. And anybody else who's here, we had a lot of people today, so that's good. And we're going to wrap up here with our pitch here, and then I'll go back through the chat room real quick and see if there's any questions. So if you have any last hits you would like me to address, you can put them in the chat room, and I'll try to cover those before we sign off for the day. So, okay, John, nice to meet you. And why don't you tell us about, is it Quibble? How do you say it? Quibble?
Yeah, you got it. You got it. First time.
All right, there we go. Let's hear about Quibble from our friend John. Go ahead, John.
Cool. Well, first one to say, I'm here to talk about luxury watches. Okay. That's what Quibble actually, no, I'm just kidding. No, really, I am happy to be here. I'm grateful there's a platform like this, I think, for supporting founders.
Thank you.
Particularly first-time founders. I wish it was around a decade ago when I had my first startup.
Yeah, me too. That's why I built it.
Yeah, no, it's super useful. So, hey, everybody, I'm John. Nice to meet you. I'm a 2-time successful founder with a 8-figure exit from my last startup in 2022. I started Quibble to solve the problem consumers faced when trying to shop for products at the best prices online. The best prices are not on Amazon and not on Walmart. They're actually on secondhand marketplaces such as Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, Nextdoor, Poshmark, etc. And so Quibble is the first consumer shopping app that aggregates all these products from the various marketplaces and gives consumers a centralized app that feels more like Amazon, but for shopping used stuff. And secondhand marketplaces, most people probably don't think about them very often. Everybody uses them to some degree, but they represent about 200 billion market share worldwide. They're very, very big, heavily used in other countries, probably more so than the US. They're undergoing a huge growth period, currently outpacing retail by 5%. They're also the key to long-term sustainability for consumerism, and they're used by the majority of Gen Z and millennials as a first place to go shopping before buying things new. But they don't feel at all like retail, which fundamentally blocks many consumers from wholesale adoption. And they require people to search over many disparate apps, haggle over subjective prices, meet up with strangers in parking lots, literally, to exchange goods for cash and risk their lives. And so our consolidated or aggregated experience leverages powerful AI tools to do a lot of that, including assisting users in determining item values. And it even handles negotiating prices, as well as providing financing and integrated electronic payment options. It even integrates pickup and delivery direct to your front door for locally purchased items. All with the goal of making resale feel more like retail. We have a super talented first-class team consisting of ex-Google employees. We've got the former CTO at EasyPost, so we got some big tech in there too. We've already established a partnership with Nextdoor. That's the 3rd largest marketplace in the US. We're raising a $1 million seed round at a $6 million valuation. We're currently projecting about 20% market share within the next 3 years. And we're currently building out the MVP with a scheduled launch around Q4 of this year.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, excellent. Well, nice job. Lots of information there and helpful. It sounds like a great product. I have some teenagers in the house who would probably be happy to learn about that. Is it live? I kind of missed that.
No, MVP Q4. Yeah.
Okay. So that is one of my first. Well, it literally was my first question, right? So kind of like I talked about with Kat, I'd like to hear more about where are you, right? So, is it built? When's it going to be built? That kind of thing. Just some specifics. but that's a small point. But let me back up. So the first thing is you need a different microphone because it's echoing in there. You need to wear a headset or buy a real microphone just for future pictures. If you want to spend $100, I'd get one of these because presumably you can hear. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, right? It's worth the money. And in this virtual world, it's definitely worth the money. I liked how you're a 2-time exited founder, but you didn't give us much more than that about your background. Like, why are you the guy? Like, I agree with the market opportunity, and you don't need to answer me now. But like, I'm left wondering. Maybe you've done this before, I guess. So maybe you're deliberately cloaking some of it so that I want the next meeting, and that's right. That is a legit strategy, but I'm just left wondering, like, is this guy from, is he from Amazon, or is he a retail store owner, or like, well, why and why him, so that's interesting. Most importantly, you can watch the replay on YouTube. You spent a lot of time talking about the product and the kind of setting the table and kind of convincing me and yourself that this was an opportunity. And I think it is, but I didn't hear anything about the business hardly. Like, what's your typical sale size? Who's the customer? What's the margin? Like, I need unit economics to have any idea. What I got mostly was an idea, and you're at that stage, so that's fair. But investors, you at least need to give us some numbers to, so we have something to eat, basically, right? This isn't nearly in the category of who was it? Chelsea was doing luxury handbag stuff. Like, I know nothing about luxury handbags. I at least have opinions about used Depop and those sort of marketplaces. But you got to give us some numbers just to tell us you've done the research, if nothing else. So it was very kind of 30,000 foot, and that's a legit thing if you're at, having lunch and you want to, then you're going to do a presentation next time. But in a pitch, I would get some numbers in there faster. The only numbers I heard were at the end, the 1 million seed at the 6 million valuation. What that led to also was, you said that leads us to a certain amount of market share. It wasn't clear to me how you define the market also, right? So you've got a lot of competitors here. So I'd like to hear more about competition. How, again, why now, and how are you going to do this better? I got the idea that there was a user interface, and the consolidation alone is going to be a big deal. I get it. But the go-to-market and like, why is that sustainable? And then more, I guess now that I say it, more on the tech. If you're going to integrate all that, somebody's really got to know the tech, right? And you had some good team members, it sounds like, but that's significant. Like all the APIs there that are going to have to be integrated in real time with real-time pricing, right? That and the shipping. I mean, you know better than I do, but that's a lot of stuff. I've done a fair amount of e-commerce stuff. There's a lot there. So I guess just a little less table setting and a little more on the nuts and bolts. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So is that helpful? Hope it is. And anybody else who's got suggestions for John, please toss those in there. And John, if you're in Huntington Beach, hopefully we can see you sometime at local events. The Orange County Startup Council has a big mailing list, and maybe that's how you heard about us, but I'm happy to meet you in person. And there's a bunch of pitch events coming up soon. I don't know what your other exits were involved, what kind of companies they were, but although
that was the idea, right? Get you interested.
Yeah,
so you ask more questions, right?
And eight-figure exits always sound good. So yeah. But if you want to participate in the scene around here, the ecosystem is quite active. I'd be happy to see you in person at one of these events.
Great, you too.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. That was our new friend John from Huntington Beach, and hopefully we'll see him again and learn more about Quibble as that grows. That sounds like a real opportunity there for sure. Okay, so we're about out of time here, and let's just run through the chat real quick and see if I missed anything that was on fire that we needed to ask. There's my friend Athena. Hi, Athena. The name of the company again. Now, this is a great question. I'm going to put this one up for all of you. This is really funny, actually, because it's amazing the number of times that founders say their name and their company and never repeat it. So this is a very it doesn't look complicated, but this is a very insightful question. Say your company name over and over. Why? Because we hear lots of pitches and we're going to forget. And your name too, right? And this is why if you have slides, it should say it on every slide. You have your logo and the URL of your website or whatever your preferred contact point is. Say it over and over and over again. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I think we're in pretty good shape here. So I think we're going to wrap up for today. And I want to encourage all of you to head over to startupcouncil.org. This is the organization here that I started. It's volunteers and a community service based. We have some sponsors, of course. So if you'd like to sponsor, that'd be great. But most of all, we have 7 free different newsletters that can help you. We have an investors directory. We have a startups directory. We have events directories. We have service provider directories. If you need attorneys or accountants or web developers or HR consultants or marketing people, contact us. There's contact forms on the website, and we'll refer you to people that are well established and like to work with startups, just what you need. And a lot of them even give discounts to our members. So anyway, go over there and sign up, and we'll see you again, via email, of course, and hopefully in our meetup groups and LinkedIn and everywhere else, and especially on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook. If you could please hit the thumbs up and the comments really drive the algorithm. So if you can even say something quick and short, like you enjoyed it or whatever, and that will help us reach more people with this free service. So I hope this is helpful to you. I'm Scott Fox. I'm from the Startup Council, and I'm here to help you along with all of our team around the world from startupcouncil.org. Hope to see you again next month. This is the 4th Tuesday of every month. And if you didn't get enough of us today, you can watch a replay on YouTube, and there are many other previous episodes archived there as well. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again. Hope to see you online. Head over there right now and sign up for the newsletters and like and comment and subscribe, please. Thanks for watching. Please tell your friends. We'll see you next month.